She wrote her name on every gravestone. They say you should never speak ill of the dead, but they forget to mention that sometimes the dead speak back. I went to a forgotten graveyard, hoping to pay my respects to a woman I had wronged. I found her name there. I found it on every single gravestone. Guilt is a strange thing. It's not a scar. Scars fade. It's more like a phantom limb. You think you've learned to live without that part of you, but then a cold front moves in and the ache starts up. This deep, grinding pain in a place that isn't even there anymore. For me, that cold front always hit on the anniversary. The day I ruined Alara's life. She wasn't dead, not literally, but I had broken something vital in her, and in doing so, something inside me had shriveled up and died. So this year, the 5th anniversary, I decided to do something different. No more drinking myself sick. No more staring at a wall until sunrise. I was going to do my penance. A quiet, meaningless ritual for an audience of one. Me. I found the place online. Blackwood End Cemetery. It was a spot lost to time, where the last burial was over a century ago. Miles from anywhere, choked by weeds and completely forgotten. It was perfect. It just felt right, going to a place as desolate and ruined as my own conscience. The drive out there was long. Paved roads turned to gravel, and then to a dirt track that felt like it was trying to swallow my car. The sky had the color of a fresh bruise, a low, purple-gray ceiling that promised a storm. Good. The weather matched my mood. Finally, I saw it. A rusted, wrought iron fence, half-eaten by ivy, and a pair of stone gateposts leaning like tired old men. The gate was gone. I parked the car, and the engine ticking was deafening in the silence. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. It was the kind of place where the world holds its breath. This, I thought, is a fitting place to be miserable. Section 1. An unsettling coincidence. I stepped between the gateposts and onto the grounds. The place was a wreck. Headstones tilted at drunken angles, their faces scrubbed clean by 100 years of wind and rain. Some were just nubs of stone poking out of the overgrown grass. Others had toppled over completely, like fallen soldiers. I walked deeper in, my feet sinking into the soft, damp ground. I was looking for a spot that just felt right. Some anonymous, forgotten corner where I could stand for a while and just let the guilt do its worst. I saw a small, simple stone, mostly intact, leaning against the gnarled trunk of a dead oak. That one would do. I walked over, pushing aside waist-high weeds that snagged at my jeans. I knelt, my hand tracing the worn, pockmarked surface. Most of the inscription was gone, but I could make out a few letters. I squinted, running my fingers over the grooves, trying to feel the name that time had nearly erased. Alara. I yanked my hand back like the stone had burned me. I shot to my feet, my heart hammering against my ribs. No, it was impossible. A trick of the light, a coincidence so insane it couldn't possibly be real. I looked again, my eyes wide, desperately searching for other letters. Maybe it was Clara or Eleonora. But no, the spacing was perfect. The phantom shapes of the other letters just fell into place in my head. Alara. My first thought wasn't anything supernatural. It was pure rage. Was this some kind of sick joke? Did she find out I was coming here? Did she follow me? Pay someone to carve up a gravestone just to mess with me? The paranoia was instant, a hot flush of anger and fear. I spun around, scanning the edges of the graveyard, half expecting to see her standing there, a ghost in the flesh, just watching me. But there was nothing, just the whispering wind and swaying trees. Fine, I muttered to the empty air. Fine. I'd just find another stone. I turned my back on it and stalked further into the cemetery, my fists clenched. I'd walk to the other side of this godforsaken place if I had to. I picked another grave at random. This one was larger, an ornate marker shaped like a weeping angel, its face caked in moss. I scraped at the green fuzz with my car keys, the metallic scratching noise offensively loud in the quiet. And there it was again, chiseled deep into the granite, so sharp and clear, it looked new. Alara. Section 2. The Curse. Unfurls. This time, the anger was gone, replaced by a cold, creeping dread. My breath caught in my throat. I stumbled back, my eyes darting around. 2 stones with her name. This wasn't a prank. There was no way. This was something else. My mind was a whirlwind of denial. I had to be wrong. I was seeing things. I sprinted to a 3rd stone, a low, flat slab of slate. I didn't even have to kneel. The name was right there, stark against the dark gray stone. Alara. And a 4th. And a 5th. I started to run, a panicked, frantic dash through the decaying monuments. I scrambled over fallen obelisks and tore through thorny bushes, my eyes scanning every single headstone. On a tall, white marble cross, Alara. On a small, crumbling pile of rocks, Alara. On a family mausoleum with a rusted-shut iron door, the name was scrawled across the stone lintel in what looked like fresh chalk. Alara, Alara, Alara. It was everywhere, on every single one. That's when I felt my sanity start to slip. The point where the rational world just dissolved into a nightmare. The sky, which had been threatening all afternoon, finally broke. A low rumble of thunder echoed in the distance, and then came the rain. Not a drizzle, but a sudden violent downpour that plastered my hair to my forehead and soaked me in seconds. The storm was a wall, trapping me in this place. The wind howled through the trees, a mournful cry that sounded like a woman weeping. And in the wind, I heard it, a whisper. My name, Liam. I clapped my hands over my ears. No, I whispered, shaking my head. No, you're not here. You brought me here, Liam. The voice wasn't just in the wind. It was inside my head. It was her voice, laced with a strange echo, full of the pain that I put there. I was losing my mind. That had to be it. My own guilt was making me go insane. A flash of lightning lit up the sky, and in that split second, the names on the gravestones seemed to pulse, to glow with an unholy light. The rain was pouring over them, but the name stayed impossibly clear. It wasn't just written on the stone. It felt like it was coming from it. I had to get out. I turned and ran back the way I came, slipping and sliding in the mud. But the graveyard seemed to have changed. The path I'd taken was gone, replaced by a dense thicket of thorns. The gateposts were nowhere in sight. Raw animal panic seized me. I was lost. I was trapped. Another whisper, closer this time. You can't run from what you did. And then the memory hit me, unbidden and sharp as broken glass. The fight, the screaming, the things I'd said to her, cruel, venomous things I'd weaponized to shatter her confidence, to make her feel as small and worthless as I felt. I remembered her face, the exact moment the light went out of her eyes. I remembered getting in my car and just driving away, leaving her on the side of the road in the dark. I never saw her again. She didn't die. She just disappeared from my life, vanished. I had erased her. And now she was returning the favor by erasing everyone else. Section 3. Penance. I collapsed to my knees in the mud and just sobbed. The storm raged around me, like the torment in my soul had finally broken free. I was in the center of the graveyard, right beneath the skeletal branches of that same ancient oak where I'd found the first stone. "What do you want from me?" I screamed into the wind. "What do you want?" As if in answer, another bolt of lightning struck nearby. The thunder was an instantaneous, deafening crack. It hit the giant oak. For a moment, the whole tree lit up, not with fire, but with a sick, pale light. And on its trunk, carved into the bark, letters were forming. They weren't just appearing. They were being etched by an invisible hand, the wood groaning and splintering as they were carved. It was a question. Tell me why. It wasn't enough for me to feel guilty. She wanted a confession. She wanted the words. All my bravado, all my self-pity. It just drained away, replaced by a profound, chilling understanding. This was a reckoning. I crawled to the base of the tree. The rain was slowing, the thunder fading to a low grumble. I looked at the headstone still leaning against the trunk, her name staring up at me. I had to answer her. My hands trembled as I felt around on the ground. I found a sharp-edged piece of granite broken from a nearby monument. It was heavy and rough in my palm. With my heart pounding out a rhythm of both terror and release, I turned to the one empty space left on the gravestone, just beneath her name. And I began to carve. My hands were clumsy. The rock was unforgiving. I cut my fingers and my blood mixed with the rainwater on the stone, turning the grooves I was carving a dark, rusty red. But I didn't stop. I etched out the words, one painful letter at a time. A full confession. I was afraid. I was weak. I destroyed you because I hated myself. It was all my fault. When I finished the last letter, I collapsed against the tree, the sharp stone falling from my numb fingers. The rain stopped. The clouds started to part, and a single, weak ray of sun broke through, lighting up the graveyard. I looked at the stone. The words I carved were there, raw and red. But her name, Ilara, was gone. I looked up. The stone across from me no longer bore her name. It read, Jonathan Blackwood. I scrambled to my feet and looked at the next one. Mary Ann Potter. They were all different. They were all normal. It was over. The curse was satisfied. A wave of exhaustion so deep it felt almost peaceful washed over me, and the world went dark. Conclusion. I woke up to the sound of birds. I was lying in the wet grass, cold and stiff. But I was alive. The sun was rising, casting a golden glow over the cemetery. It looked peaceful. Just an old, forgotten place. My confession on the stone was gone. The stone itself was weathered and blank, as if my words had never been there at all. It was like the whole night had been a fever dream. I stumbled back to my car, my mind feeling strangely empty. As I reached the gateposts, I stopped. My whole body went cold. Freshly carved into the ancient stone of the right-hand post, so new I could still see the pale dust around the edges, was a single word. Ilara. The curse wasn't over. My penance hadn't lifted it. It had just included me in it. I was part of the graveyard now. I ran a trembling hand through my hair, and my fingers brushed against my forearm. I looked down, and there, etched into my skin as if it had always been there, was her name. A permanent scar. A phantom limb that would ache forever. If you made it to the end, thanks for listening. Stories like this about the things that haunt us are a good reminder that the past is never really dead and buried. If you want to hear more tales from the shadows, think about subscribing to the channel. It helps more than you know. Until next time, be careful what you leave behind. You never know when it might come back for you.